Alright folks, how you doing? Coming at you today with another video on, I think I'm going with as America, we need to rethink foreign aid, right? Like, what are we doing? And I had this conversation with one of my old coworkers, and I always used to joke with him. He's more of like a Antifa, I hate to say it, like commie dude and socialist. And he didn't even realize it, which was the worst part about it, you know. Um, Quick example on this guy. Nice guy, and it's one of those things that I say when it comes to anything. When we are having conversations with people, we've got to get through all the BS, right? Like, that's why you have to not get offended so easily, because it's like anything else. It's like a first impression. At the beginning, you're going to offend. And then once we can finally get through all that BS, now we can get down to the nitty gritty and the real conversation, right? So one day we're at work, it's a little slow, and we're going back and forth, and he's pretty much telling me how I'm wrong on everything and blah, blah, blah. And then we finally get through it, and then we start getting to real stuff, and then his exact words were, "That was the most American thing I've ever heard you say," right? So when it comes down to it, this is what it is. And I don't know, I'm just average Joe Smo, ex-landscaper, personal trainer, now restaurant owner slash manager, sipping my coffee in my basement while my family sleeps. Right? It's like we say when everybody's like, we need to look at um, how these Scandinavian countries do their democratic socialism and take notes from it, right? And then you hear other things where they're like, well, in reality, none of them have a defense budget, right? Because America pretty much has bases all through Europe, and for the most part, there's never going to be some crazy war in reality, and could be wrong. Why? Because you might kill an American soldier on that base, and shit's going to hit the fan, right? Can't do that. America will come after you. And I think at least that's the way I see it, right? That's why there's really not too much war going on over there. So the way we need to look at it, in my opinion, is like foreign aid, right? It's these things where Iran, Iraq, whatever these countries are, we're sitting there, even, France, I don't know what we're doing there for foreign aid, but a lot of these countries, we're sitting there sending them, $200 billion. Here it is to help build your country and do what you need to do. And, it's like me being a Catholic, and you're always a little iffy on giving money to your church, right? No matter what church you are. Like, what are they really doing with this money? Are they just pocketing it? Unfortunately with the Catholic Church, as it go, we're paying off this whole scandal with the children, and, whatever, these bishops and cardinals living in their mansions, their, condos that they shouldn't be living in, whatever. So it's finding your own little organizations and grassroots places to help out. So we've got to be iffy on this stuff. And my whole issue is, right, when we're going into Iraq and Iran and these places to drill for oil, what do? We literally send our workers from the companies here, we fly them over there, and they drill for oil, right? Good example is in like 2007, 2008, in the big market crash, my buddy and I were getting laid off when we were landscaping in the winter, trying to find a job. At that time, my uncle worked in the oil field, and I don't know if he was just trying to scare us, scare tactics, I don't know what it was. And he's like, well, I can get you a job on the oil field, you're just gonna have to go to Iraq. He's like, and it's literally like a military compound. You sit there, it's 2 months on, 1 month off. You make $50 an hour, no taxes. The 1 month you have off, they'll fly you anywhere in the world. Like, great, sign us up. Like, oh, you only get 2 gallons of water a day, one to drink and to shower with. Cool, set us up. There's no labor laws. They're gonna expect you to work if you're not sleeping. Cool, sign us up, right? Then I never heard anything back from it. But I think that's how we need to treat our foreign aid, right? They always say we go in, we have wars, we destroy these countries, and then we have to rebuild them, whatever. Well, what it comes down to is, why aren't we doing that with our foreign aid, right? Like, we're sending these monies, like, oh, they need to build roads. Well, why aren't we taking construction companies here, sending them there, whatever company, let them bid it out, send them there, and it's like, okay, now you're going to go lay asphalt, and American workers are going to get paid to go over there and build those roads and those bridges and those telecommunication centers. Instead, we just give them the money, and it's like, oh, here, hopefully you do something with it, right? To me, that just seems like a lost cause. We should not be doing that. And I don't know if this could even work. Like I said, I don't do that much research. It's just a thought in my head of, why aren't we doing that? Same thing of, we're going to these places, and like the best example I could see, I think I've brought it up in a past video, is Akon, the rapper slash, what is he, pop star, R&B star, I don't know, how he's like out there building cities, like, solar panel cities in Africa, wherever he's from, because he wanted to get light to his grandma's house or his mom's house. And he's like, the only way to do it is to actually build out a city, right? So he's taking his foundation and literally building solar cities there, which makes sense because they're in Africa. Sun shines everywhere. You can do that, right? Here in America, not so much. Not every city or place is like that. But I think we need to rethink our foreign aid, or if it's like, even when you go on mission trips here in America, they go on mission trips to Mexico to go build a house. Like, why aren't we doing that in those areas? Like, even if it's, they're huts made of cinder block. Well, fine. We're going to find a mason company in the United States, send them over there to build these houses. Not just give money and do it, right? So I don't know, it just seems like there is definitely a better way that we should be able to do these things, or a more efficient way to where we know where our money is going, instead of just like, here's your money and good luck. And I think that's just the American way as well. I was listening to this video the other day. I discovered Nick Cannon's class, which I did a video on that, and what was said by him and Professor Griff when they had their conversation, real controversial. Nick Cannon got fired from a couple things that he was doing. But more power to him. I don't care. You're able to think whatever you want, man. I don't care. I don't really give a crap what you think as a person, right? And I've listened to Professor Griff and this Dr. Umar Johnson. Like, I started that in like 2011, 2012. So I'd already heard all this stuff. And then finally it goes on Nick Cannon's thing, and everything gets crazy. It's like Professor Griff's been saying this stuff probably since the early 2000s. I don't know. I discovered him in the late 2000s into the 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that time frame. But it's like Dr. Umar Johnson said it best. He's a black guy addressing the black community, and it's like, the downfall is nobody wants to take responsibility. This guy's trying to create, his own school, and, he's a Pan-African, whatever. And he said it best, and that's how America, like, that's the American way right now. It's just like, he said, the difference between blacks now versus blacks then, and we can do the same thing. The difference between Americans now and Americans then is that Americans then knew they had to put in the work, right? It wasn't just throw money at the problem. It was, your neighborhood's dirty, walk around and pick up the trash. Your neighbor's hurting, go give them some money and help them out, not donate to this cause, right? And that's what he was saying. It's like, now we think, oh, we just place a vote, everything's great, things will change. And for him, he was like, I've been trying to start a school for, 7 years. I can't get the money. And he goes, and this is for the black community, and this is the same thing for like Americans now with our election coming up. It's like, oh, let's raise taxes for school. Let's raise taxes for school. Last time that stuff got shot down in Denver and Colorado, right? But then once COVID hit, you see all these memes of like, oh man, these teachers are so crazy. Whatever they want me to, but if they need pencils, I'll buy them $200 worth of pencils just to get these kids out of my house. But the problem is, now that school's going, I guarantee you none of these parents are doing that. right? But that's what it comes down to. We shouldn't have to raise our taxes. You should be asking your teacher, your son's teacher, what do you need, and do that and buy that for them. What books do you need? As the parent teacher, whatever they called it, the PTA, right? Isn't that the parent? I don't know. Maybe that is the parent something. I don't know. My kid's only like not even 2 yet. I'll eventually learn all these terms. But it's like, why don't you, as that class, okay, what do we need as the parents? What classes do your children go to? Okay, teachers, what do you need? It's almost like doing a potluck for a birthday party, right? You bring this, you bring this, you bring. All right, you five buy these books. You five buy this. You five buy this, right? And you just do that. I know we used to do that as a kid. Everybody bring Kleenexes. Everybody do this, but obviously there's something else going on, and we can't just throw money at the problem, right? Because they just use it and neglect it. So we've got to find alternative ways to do these things. And like I said, it's everybody's upset that we're losing jobs overseas and we're doing this and that. And we got to figure something out. And that's one thing where I kind of agreed with Trump on, if and I didn't do as much studying on his first election, where it's like all these American companies are doing is shipping the jobs overseas for cheaper, and then they're literally paying. We'll do Nike as the example, most likely. It's like they're literally put a factory over there, put their people to work, yes, for $1 a day, and then they're coming back and selling you, because I don't wear Nike, haven't worn Nike since I was in like 7th grade, and then they come back and sell you a shoe that probably cost them $10 to make, and they're charging you $200 for that shoe. That doesn't make sense, right? So I agree, if you're an American company that goes over there and does that, when that shoe comes back, I do think you should have a tariff on it, or you should be charged to bring that shoe back into the country. That doesn't make any sense, right? If you're paying $200 to make for a pair of shoes, and they can make that shoe over there for $10, and you can make a pair of shoes in one pair of shoes even at an hour, I would rather you pay an American citizen $25 an hour, and they can make that one shoe. You're selling it for $200. That's still $175 profit. The problem is they're paying all these athletes to promote it, and then because that's why you're going to buy it. But I don't know. Like I said, it's things like that. They want airports. Good. You want airports? That's fine. We send out concrete companies. Our American workers pour the concrete. We send out our communications people. They run all the wire. And not only are our tax dollars are coming back into the country, because you're paying our own citizens, and you can tax it or do whatever you want. And so our tax dollars are being reused to pay our own citizens for the work that they do. And we know that the money's going where it's supposed to go. We're not just dropping pallets of money somewhere. And once again, that's simplified. There could be many other things I'm missing, and that's fine, but the conversation needs to start somewhere. And I know I rambled on, and people usually complain about that. The handful of people that watch the video, but just my thoughts. What can we do in that sense? What, as Americans, as America, can we do to better ensure that our money, our financial resources, are being used in a proper way? And I think this is something that could help. And leave a comment, or hopefully someone that actually knows about this can figure it out and know what's going on. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Once again, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time.